does it quite a bit. Chris Cheetam, like he does it so much. Like that's all he talks about. Like we were talking about what we do like at the gym. He's like, yeah, between sets, I'm making bets. I'm like, of course you are. So if you want to talk to someone about betting, he's all over on Twitter, looking at prop bets, following people on Twitter. Let's see what I need to do. Every odds boost he's taken. It's nuts.
Hey, welcome back to Fade the Mahoney, everybody. This is our week 5, right? Week 5, Major League Wiffle Ball preview edition. We've got Chris Cheetam with us. We're going to talk to him all about sports gambling. We might even talk a little Major League Wiffle Ball at some point. This is our first time talking to a player going into their second game. So that's kind of exciting. We can recap a little bit of how it's gone and what we have to look forward to. But, and by the way, Trevor's here. As always, Trevor knows way more about Major League Wiffle Ball than I do. So he's going to set some lines in a little bit. But before we get in, kids, do not pay for picks when it comes to gambling. That guy, you see that article with the poker player, charged $25 million for picks. We give them to you for free. We lose almost all of them. You can make money.
I didn't see this. What happened? Who was this?
Corey Seidman, something.
Oh, really?
Do you know who that is? He won a
prize. I know. Yeah, I know him.
Yeah.
He was charging for picks?
He was arrested Wednesday on charges of fraud and money laundering related to a sports betting scheme that brought in more than $25 million from alleged victims.
Jeez. Sure.
You're going to get picks from us for free. We don't charge $25 million. So
no, we probably should though. What if we just do one for 25 million? That'd be smart.
That's good. That's good. Like I said, first chance to talk to a player who's played. So I actually just rewatched your series from a couple of weeks ago. Very, very exciting. The way you acted on that last pitch of game 1. That was a thing of beauty. What were your thoughts in the series? What do you got to say?
I would say my initial thoughts is that we were literally one pitch away from winning the series, which just absolutely sucks. And that inning in particular, I felt like after I hit the home run, I felt like there was I felt extra dominant. Like, I don't know if you guys watched the live at all, but like I was dropping in super curves, like every pitch pretty much for a strike. And like, they were not touching anything. So I was like, oh, this is over. And then I threw a pretty good pitch and Russ he had my number all day. But overall in the series, I thought, our loss in game 1 kind of fed into game 2. Obviously, we came out flat. Jorgie didn't have his A game this time around, but I also was just kind of not into the game either. So I think some of the rest of the team's energy kind of fed off into that. And then game 3, it was kind of just like, well, we can't get swept today. So we knuckled down the ball in game 3 because we usually use 2 balls a series, and in game 1, the game ran so long we had to switch to the new ball in game 2, and then obviously it got hit around. So that game 3 ball was really bad. That's why McGlade, he didn't have very good outing. He was dominant in game 2, and then me, I was able to kind of battle through it for the couple innings, and then the third inning, I really didn't have a lot of pitches to go to. I was just trying to throw strikes and get outs, and they finally started hitting me. But overall, I felt like personally I played pretty well. But, I need to be a little bit better in the clutch on the mound for sure. And I feel like, we can definitely turn this around. But at the same time, if we go into this Eagle series and lose this, it's an uphill battle because this NL this year is going to be tough to make the playoffs. So if we go to 2-4 or 1-5, honestly, my hopes are getting to the playoffs. I might start looking towards next year. I know that's crazy, but it's an uphill battle. We don't have that free sweep against the Mallards like we did last year.
God, there was so much good stuff in there. I can't remember everything I wanted to say. Jorgie actually sent me a message after I was able to watch it, apologizing for how poorly he pitched, but I had the over, so it was fine by me. But the switching of the balls from game 3 to game 2, that's pretty interesting when you say, Trevor.
Yeah, definitely. I thought, first of all, interesting series. I obviously had the Gators as favorites in the series, which I think was the right line. And obviously, like Chris said, that he was one pitch away from winning the series. And who knows how game 2 goes if you just win the first game also. The ball thing is really interesting. I wanted to ask you, as far as like somebody like Brennan goes, like, do you tend to try to throw more strikes against somebody like that who maybe isn't as like an accomplished hitter as other people, and then that's why he has such success early on in the season?
That's a good question. With Russ, he's one of those guys that is kind of just unpredictable. Like when we played him a couple years ago, I felt like he wasn't touching me. So like he didn't do anything against me when we played him a couple years ago. So I feel like I kind of underrated him going into this series. And I started off kind of just throwing him like strikes and stuff. And literally in the first at bat with 2 strikes, I'd thrown like 2 and he took them. Like, yeah, this is going to be the same recipe as when we played him a couple of years ago. And then I threw him a pretty good drop. If you could see in the video, it wasn't a bad pitch. It was going to be a strike, and maybe I left it a little bit too high, and he crushed it. I mean, he got all of it. So then after that, I was kind of like, once I give up an early home run to a hitter, I tend to get really like stingy with what I throw him. So I kind of shut him down for a while. And then that last thing I think I got a little too overconfident myself because I was throwing really good pitches. And I just snapped off 2 really good super curves on him. And then you can actually hear in the video, if you guys go back after this, try to listen, turn your volume all the way up. You can hear me kind of mumble, I don't know what to throw him here, because he had just taken like a really close pitch. And I thought I was going to get him on. And then I was like, I guess I'm throwing a drop here. And I threw him, and it was a good pitch. Again, it was even better than the first one. And I don't know, he just ran into one. And that's kind of what wiffle ball is about. It's very hard to hit in this league and do it consistently. So I do have a lot of respect for Brendan Russell, because he does get like some crap from fans and stuff for maybe not being like a superstar, but he's a guy that he can go out and he can get the job done for sure. I think he's one of the more, if not the most underrated player in the league.
I have in my notes here, the reason Major League Wiffle Ball is so much cooler than Major League Baseball is because they have 162 games, and who cares?
Right.
But literally, if you guys get swept in your game this week,
it's all she wrote.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
That Gators under that I picked is looking pretty good if that happens.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Yeah. But I mean, so like you said, the difficulty here is, and the reason I said this to Jorgie when we were filmed last week, is that your schedule is so difficult this year. You still have the Wildcats and Dimebacks to play, Mallards, who we don't know what they're going to be, but obviously I was high on them at the start of the season. And this Pred series was the one that I expected you guys to win, and so that's difficult, obviously, when you lose 2 out of 3 there, and it makes it such an uphill battle from here. But I guess as we get into this series against the Eagles, I have some thoughts on that once we get to that.
Okay, well, let's get the odds from you just in a second. But I should ask you, on the record, Chris, you had said might start looking towards next year if things go bad this week. Would you ever be in a position, if things went bad, to be like Bonham and demand to be traded to a contender?
Well, okay, yeah, I'll actually give you a little information on this, because the answer usually is like, oh no, I don't know, we'll see what happens or whatever. But I'll be honest with you, and this is kind of a juicy, I really want to play with Jason Chadwick at some point in my career. Like, we have always wanted to play together. I don't know if a trade would happen this year, but like we maybe some moving parts. I don't know which side would go where or whatever, but me and him really want to play together, and we'll do pretty much whatever it takes to at least get like one season in where we get to play together. So potentially I would say in the off season, that could be a time where, one of us looks out or something like that. I love playing for the Gators for sure, but at the same time, like, we've been together for 3 years. Like, I mean, I'm not writing us off yet this year, because we got plenty of time and we can definitely make a comeback this year. It's really early in the season, but at the same time, if we're trending in this, downward direction, I feel like I'm still a good enough player to, win another World Series. So, I feel like me and Chadwick's skill sets together, we play really well off each other. So, maybe in the offseason, me and him team up, but at the same time, I don't know if that'll happen, but we'll see.
Oh, you're a much better player than Bonham, and he got himself moved during the
right. He did.
Year,
yeah, that's true. So maybe we'll see. I do love playing with our guys or whatever, and I'll get into it a little bit when we recap the next series. But I am a little bit more optimistic going into the Eagles series. I think we have a good chance.
I've been doing this long enough. This is one of those things where your publicist is going to contact me and ask me to cut all that out, because it's. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. All right, let's talk about this series. Trevor, you crunch the numbers. What do you got? We got Gators versus Eagles. Gators start are 1-2, Eagles 2-1. It's only the second series of the year for you guys, but it's super important.
Yes. All right. So let's start with the over/under, which, as always, is a difficult task here in MLW. The Eagles games, I think this season, I'm just going to stick with 10.5. for the over under for the 3 games. There's just no way you can go higher based on the pitching they have, and I expect Chris and Jorgie to pitch much better. Jorgie to pitch much better as well in this series. You know, that tidbit about the balls. You know, we talked with Drew about the balls, and we talked with Jorgie about the balls. That tidbit about the game 1 going long and then having to switch to the other ball in game 2 is was good information, and it's tough to line these things when that happens. You know, like we saw, you know, one game gets out of control, then overhits. But with the Eagles pitching that they have, I just expect them to continue to pitch well. And I think Chris and Brendan will both pitch very well as well. So I'm going to line it at 10.5. I'll let you, Jojo, decide which side you want on that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Going forward, we can't really have you set the line and bet it. Can't do that. So
no.
I think Chris has got at least 2 dingers in him in the series. So I'll just go ahead and ride with the over. Life's too short to bet the under. So standard 100. You have any thoughts on that number, Chris?
You know, for us, you know, I think we really struggle hitting off the Eagles team. Dan has given us fits before, but we've kind of talked about it, and we all know that we need to be a lot better in this series. Like if you watch our playoff series against them last year, it was just, I mean, I had to be perfect on the mound because none of us, and like a part of that was on me. I was a third of our lineup, so I'm not putting the blame on anybody, but the entire team, we didn't hit anything all series except for finally Zerlag was able to deliver for us. But you know, Dan's such a quality pitcher in this league. I have a lot of respect for him. Dallas looked really good in series 1, but I also feel like his pitch repertoire, especially that, you know, screwing drop that he's got, is something a pitch that I've been hitting really well. You know, in series 1, I hit it out, you know, just in BP and stuff like that kind of thing. When Jorgie's got that pitch too. And every time he throws it, I've been taking him deep on it. So, you know, if Dallas throws a game or 2, I expect that we'll hit a little bit better against them. I think that could be a game that could get us to the over, depending on who we pitch. If it's like Jorgie versus Dallas, I feel like that game could be a little more high scoring. But usually when me and Dan, you know, cross pass on the mound, it's very low scoring. So I think I'm with you, Mike. I'm going to go with the over as well. I think it's going to be, you know, 11-12, not something that's crazy, but I think it will be, you know, it'll go over at least.
All right. But you are, just to be clear, you're pretty bad at sports betting.
I've had some stretches where I'm good. I'm not really that good at picking at the spread, but you know, I do occasionally I'll hit a parlay or 2 or something like that, you know.
All right. All right. I'll stick with it. All right. What do we got for the series line? This one's tough, right, Trevor?
Yeah. So I have the Eagles -170, Gators +150.
Okay.
And given this, you know, I actually like taking the Gators here at +150. I think they're going to come out, and I think that price is a little too high. And I think everybody, you know, the bettors are going to be behind the Eagles. They see the momentum that they have, the pitching and everything. They're going to be down on the Gators. And I think actually the Gators have a chance to come out here and surprise a lot of people and rebound and keep their season afloat.
Thoughts on that, Chris? You think it's lined properly? You're definitely the underdog. You agree with that?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think after first series, the Eagles looked pretty solid. They didn't really hit the ball too great, but on the mound, they looked dominant. We obviously didn't perform as well as we want to, but I think I agree with Trevor. I mean, I'm going to pick our guys. Obviously, I think we're going to win the series. And I think the reason is because we're a lot more desperate. I don't feel like this Eagles team doesn't know how desperate we are, to be honest. I mean, you know, it's only been 1 series. They're probably like, oh, you know, they almost won the series or whatever. They're probably just going to come out like it's a regular series. No, I've been saying all along, this is one of, if not the biggest regular season series for us in the last 3 years. If we come out, I'm going to keep saying it, but if we come out and go 1-2 again, we got to still play the Diamondbacks, Mallards, and Wildcats. I mean, you're asking a lot for a team that, you know, we only won 1 series in the regular season last year, and we would be losing our first 2 series of this year as well if we start 2-4 or worse. So I really think we need it, and I think we'll get it because, you know, I'm really locked in for this series. All I'm thinking about is just we need to get that game 1 win badly.
God, how cool, cool is Major League Wiffle Ball?
And it's, you know, it always comes down to just a couple key hits, and especially a series like this, I think it's going to be so tight. And when you have such a series that will be tight like this, then I think you always go with the underdog, take the money, you know, the +150, because all it takes is a couple of key hits here and there. And I mean, you could even see a Gator sweep too.
I hope so. That's for sure.
I have recently been introduced to a gentleman on Instagram. His account is MLW Stats, and I don't. Are you familiar with that, Chris?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
follow.
I don't follow how the numbers work yet. We're going to have him on the show at some point in the future because I'm interested. But he does a ladder every week. Have you seen it, Trevor? Where he ranks every player on the ladder, and our guest today is currently second in the league. So that's pretty cool. But sometime down the road, I'd be really interested to know how this all works. Somehow Alex Warda is on here.
He had a great series.
Yeah,
he braked.
Yeah, he had a great. Yep.
Hey, Chris, can you tell us if Reese is going to be available for this series?
He is going to be available, and we're going to throw him. That's why I was going to get to that too, and that's the reason why I like us to win the series. We're going to have Reese with us for this one. He's making a trip down from Illinois. It's a 3.5-hour drive, so he's got to get up very early because our series is at 1 on Saturday. But Reese is going to provide. We're throwing him right into the fire. You see these rookies. They don't play game one or they bat in the bottom of the order. We're batting them too, game one. So he's coming in and he's going to make an impact right away. I don't know how much time in the field he's going to see. He's not going to pitch this series, but we get ready and waiting in case one of us continues to falter on the mound. But he's going to hit, and we need him We need him badly in this series. That's for sure. We need this fresh face because I feel like we're a little fatigued of that 3-man lineup. It's been all 3 of us for the last 3 years. So I think Reese could be the answer to our problems for sure.
Inside information. Fantastic. Fantastic. Anything else we need to cover on Major League Wiffle Ball right now, or can we get into some gambling stories? Trevor, you good? Got anything else?
Yeah, I don't think I have any other questions.
All right. Tell us how you got into sports betting, Chris, how deep you're into it, what you bet on. Tell me.
So, all right. Yeah, I'll give you the full rundown. So, I pretty much started like most degenerates right when I turned 21. I actually used to bet on, I can't even remember the site, but when I was like 18 or something like that, I found some offshore site that I bet on for a little while. And I remember hitting, I'm a Michigan State basketball fan. I actually have a hoodie on right now. It's Michigan State. But I remember my first like nice cash was I threw like $25 on them to beat Duke in the Elite Eight and like the under in the game or something like that. And I turned it into like $100. And that was kind of where it started or whatever. I stopped until I was 21. Then I got into FanDuel a little bit or whatever. And I was throwing like every day I was throwing like crazy parlays out there and they never hit. Like I was just throwing money in the garbage pretty much every single day. But then I went to Vegas in May because my birthday was in March of 2021. So that's when I turned 21. And then in May, I went to Vegas with Jorgie actually and another buddy. And I didn't really sports bet, but I played the blackjack tables and won pretty solidly after having a really bad start the first couple of nights. And then I also won back-to-back nights. I won $400 on a slot machine. Then I won $1,000 like an hour before we left the flight. I had like two $20 bills, and I was like, I was my last two 20s of the trip, and I was like, I'm just gonna throw these, in there and see what happens. And literally, like, I came up with like $1,070 or something like that on a slot machine. So that was kind of where it started for me. But
and now they got you back. They'll get you back now for sure.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, they have been. The online sports books have been really getting me back. But I kind of hit like a little bit of a rough patch. I would say I was kind of going a little bit too crazy, like betting like a lot on parlays that just weren't hitting, and like I was starting to lose a bunch of money. So then I started tailing this dude, and honestly, this is good advice for you too. If you guys really like to sports bet across the books, follow Promo Guy. Well, actually, you might. Promo Guy Michigan's the guy I like, but he does like a bunch of promos and he does like free bets and all that kind of thing. So I tail and like FanDuel boost and that, and he tells you like how much to bet on it and like what to bet. So I've been tailing this dude a lot more as of late. I still make, my own parlays and stuff too, and lose those all the time. But this guy has actually made me like a couple $1,000s in the last month or two. Like it's gone really well. And I also hit, let's see, I know I'm kind of just rambling at this point, but there's just I've made a lot of different, like I bet on like pretty much every sport and that kind of thing. But I think it was opening day or the second day of the MLB this year. I turned 50. It was like an odds boost on DraftKings. I turned 50 and a 960 on a home run parlay. I parlayed. It was Devers and Stanton to homer, and they both homered within the fourth inning. I was at work. Like I'm an accounting major. So I was just at my accounting internship, and I was bored, so I made this parlay, and then I just look in the fourth inning, and like I see Devers homer, and I'm like, oh my God, like I just won like $950. Like, it was so nonchalant, but that was probably the coolest like hit I've had. But I've definitely had some other really big ones too. Me and Jason, he used to make a bunch of these cool like alternate line player prop parlays for the NBA. And I remember I tailed one of them for $5 and he turned it into 630. So that was a pretty good one too. And then let me see if I can see if there's anything else I can think of at the moment.
All you 21-year-olds out there who can get on the apps, always look for the promos.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's
Always
how you
look
make
for
the
the
money.
promos. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
So it's similar here in New Jersey, like the states that have regulated gambling, sports gambling. I have friends here in New Jersey that are poker players that have for the last couple of years since we've had it have made between $10,000 and $15,000 a year just grinding the promos.
Right.
Understanding which ones do. I know there's a couple different sites. I know the guy that you mentioned, and there's a couple other sites that basically just line them up for you. Like you got to get in here or whatever. And then the player props are always going to be the best lines to bet just because they're the most inefficient and because Vegas generally doesn't care about them. Obviously, you can't make huge wagers on them, which because they don't care as much about them. But those are where you're going to have the best spot to do it. And for NFL, for those, my friend Adam Levitan owns Established the Run. If you guys ever heard of that,
I do. Yep.
Yeah, they have the best player props. Then if it's like $200 a year or whatever it is to get on there, and they scout that stuff out and they're on top of it. Good. So shout out to him because he's great. I've known him for a long time.
Cool. Oh, and we also, at the end of last week's episode, I'm sure you guys all watched the Jordan Robles episode. At the end of that, these two gentlemen gave you some picks that I guess either did really well or did really poorly. We'll figure it out. What can you tell us about the new trading card set that's coming out? Do you know anything about it?
Honestly, I know it's been in the works for a little while, but I don't know exactly what the plan is for it. Kyle had mentioned like how bad like they wanted to do it, like in a couple of those tournaments. I played in like the NWLA and the UFs tournament, and that was definitely something that was brought up. That's where I get most of my inside information, is going to those tournaments and like hanging with Kyle and stuff. That's when he's like willing to, like, I knew about the Jimmy going on TBS before like they released that, because he told us like while we were at B-Dubs and he told us, and I was like, oh my God, like that was crazy. But it's gonna be really cool for sure. I'm definitely gonna get in on some packs. I also do really like sports cards too. That's another thing I have. I have like a 10 of 25 of Damian Lillard, like some autograph card, and he's like my favorite basketball player. So that I have a lot of cards like that. I like to collect those as well. But I got to keep hitting these sports bets if I want to buy more cards. So that's there's that too. But yeah, those back on like I'll go back on the promos for a second. Yeah, those are, you got to kind of use them on like all the sites and stuff. You get a lot, like you rack up like free bets. You do like the casino stuff, and you got to know which ones to bet on. You don't want to get screwed by like their 15 times playthrough and that kind of thing. But I've like deposited like $3,000 into DraftKings to get like $500 of like credit, and then I just play through it all in like blackjack, and it usually makes me a couple $100. So like every time I get one of those, I get really happy, even though it's super like scary putting like a bunch of money in there, and like I don't know what they're like. They've literally locked me out of my money before. DraftKings has like tried to lock my account and stuff before, so it's kind of scary, but at the same time,
because
it's a
you're
good way to
too
make some
sharp.
money.
They're worried that
No,
you're
I
too
haven't
good?
read some promos. I haven't read some of the promos, right? And like I didn't play through like all of it one time. So it was on me, but like they caught me pretty good. And then but I was able to get out of it once I said like, oh yeah, I'll like bet through it. Like I didn't like sometimes they don't even say in the promo, but you like have to play through it like at least one time or they're gonna get you.
Right. Trevor, have we had anybody else this degenerate on the show recently that you can think of? It's pretty strong.
No, this is strong. I like it. It's great. I mean, you like when you see them learning it young,
Yeah. Yep.
Bad habits early.
Yeah.
Vegas wasn't going to let you leave the first time down. They had to fix that right quick to make sure. What else do we got? Oh, I'm going to put a link below to your jersey. People buy your jersey. Trevor and I are currently, all we're sitting on are the Robles jerseys for now, because he told us to buy it twice. So we did that. You should probably plug your own jersey. Tell people to buy your jersey. I assume you get a cut, right? You're a professional athlete.
Yeah, we do get a little. Yeah, we do get a little bit of a cut for it, so it's pretty nice. I had a lot of people buy it after we won the World Series and stuff like that. So I've had a decent amount, but yeah, buy my jerseys, guys, for sure. I appreciate it.
Buy it twice.
Hey, Jojo, back to the trading cards real quick. We got to get Kyle to get them in the NFT game, huh?
Yeah.
That's
MLW
where it's
Top
at.
Shots. MLW
Yeah.
Top Shots. That's a
That'd be
thing.
sweet.
Let's do
I was
it.
in that for a little bit too.
Yeah, I have a very, very large collection of Top Shots.
I lost a lot of money via Top Shot.
I believe it. Yeah, I was fortunate. I got in before everybody, so that was nice. That's been good.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I'm going to have a link down below for Chris's jersey. Buy his jersey, buy it twice. I'm going to have a link down below for the Patreon. Again, the Patreon for MLW is $5 a month, and you get bonus videos and stuff from game day. What's $5?
Right.
Just sign up. Just sign up. Oh, my last. This is a nitpick. I know I get nitpicky on MLW. Kyle is so generous with hits versus errors. We got to do something about that. It hits Jorgie right here and he drops it and can't throw him out and he announces it's a hit. Come on.
Right. No, I get that. I think it's partly because it's so hard to like make contact with the wiffle ball. It's like more of like the hitter friendly thing. So like you really have to like, there's very rarely, and I don't even know if our team's made an error in the last 3 years, but we've made plenty of them. Like actually, but they never he really is very generous with it just because it is like so hard. Like, I know everybody only sees the last pitch, but it is really hard to hit a wiffle ball. Like even a bad wiffle ball pitch is still not easy to hit usually when you got a good pitcher on the mound and everybody's got so much junk in the trunk. It's getting harder and harder to hit too as the league gets better because there's just there's no free average booster pitchers anymore. Everybody's got 2 good pitchers and it's always hard to hit off all of them. So I think that's why he's not too strict about it, but I do understand some of that because there's plenty. I mean, I make errors on the mound too and that kind of thing. And that I definitely kind of like in my brain, I'm like, that's a bad error. And then it ends up being a hit. So
you guys are the best wiffle ball players on the planet. I think we can hold you to a little bit of a higher standard when it comes to fielding.
Understandable. Yeah, I get that.
One thing I've actually noticed, though, I think so far this season is the fielding overall has been amazing. Like last season, you saw the Diamondbacks were just an incredible fielding team. And then like I didn't give him the proper shout out, but Chadwick, like in that series was like 5 or 6 like really, really great plays. And that's the fielding across the board has been really good.
It has. Yep. It definitely has this year.
All right. Well, we didn't. I know you had some thoughts on some of our preseason numbers, and we didn't get to that. So maybe down the road, Trevor and I, or Trevor, to be honest, updates the numbers. If you've got the time and the interest, maybe you can come back on and we can talk about some of the updated numbers. I know you weren't a big fan of his the total he had on the Preds. You think more highly of them than Trevor did.
Yeah, I do. I mean, like I do understand definitely because Trevor said this earlier, where he said that the Preds, this was a series that we should have won. I definitely agree with that. But at the same time, the Preds have been a really good team. They had a down year last year, but Cratch has definitely adjusted to that speed limit a lot better than he had a lot of good off-speed pitch. I know he wasn't like absolutely dominant, but he had a great outing on the mound in both times he was out there. And, I think that the team, I don't know if their draft pick's going to do a whole lot, but Warda's a great player. Russ, if he keeps hitting like this, like he's going to be unstoppable. They're going to be pretty much unbeatable if he hits like this all year. So, it really depends on if they can keep it up. But, I definitely, even if we had beat them 2-1, I would feel the same way about that. I think I actually had said something about that line before we played them. So I was, I don't know if they're going to win 10 games this year, but I would have I feel like I would have had that line at either 6.5 or 7.5. At 6.5, I really liked the over even, but maybe at 7.5, that's where I would be a little more on the fence. So I think between there, 7-8 wins, that's where I would have them. I think they're going to win a couple more series this year. I think they'll definitely beat the Magic and the Cobras in those series as well. Cause usually historically, at least the Preds have had a lot of success against the Cobras. I think the Cobras won last year, but Drew Davis is always good for one of those series where he just falls apart. So, I love Drew, but I feel like the Preds are not his forte. At least he has some other.
Tag that clip. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, my obviously in retrospect, after seeing that first series and seeing how the Preds look, my number looks really bad. And I definitely was down too much. Like when anytime you have Cratch and like that he's going to adjust to the speed limit. He's good. He's a good, he has the baseball background and he's just a good pitcher. I mean, one of the best pitchers ever in the MLW. And you get to throw him 2 out of 3 games if you want. And I wasn't sure how McGlade would do this year and what the draft pick would look like. I think I took too much bias in the fact that I thought it was just such a bad pick at 2 that brought me down a number. And then obviously you look across and like I was a little bit higher on the Magic and the Cobras than the Preds, just because I thought the full season of Bonham with Chadwick would be good. And I obviously wasn't sure about what Jack's status would be and everything there.
Right.
And the Cobras, it's tough. Like realistically, the best way to line these teams, I would say on both sides of the NL and the AL, is you take the bottom 3 teams after the Wildcats and the Diamondbacks on each side and just say 7.5.
Right.
And that would be the easiest way to do it, right? But
Yeah.
that's not much fun for the content.
You're a professional. You would never do that.
I do agree with that for sure. So I know I don't hate like I definitely get the opinion after like the second half of the last season that they had, because they really they looked like a 5-win team, honestly. But I just felt like having a guy like Cratch, having a guy with such experience like Warder, whose game has really translated well. That was a guy I was wondering if maybe his game would, his skill would decrease as the talent gone. Now he's really adjusted to the better pitching in the league, and he's still one of the top tier hitters in the league, in my opinion. So, and then same with Russ. I keep saying it, but I think he's the key there. If he's hitting, he's not going to hit 3 home runs in every series, but if he's putting together quality at bats, he's getting on base, and he's hitting an occasional homer. If he hits like 4 more home runs throughout the season, they're going to be. I mean, they could compete for the division if they got all those things going. So, really, it's still early. They could fall apart again, kind of like last year, because they did start hot last year. But at the same time, it's just a team with too much experience that I just can't expect them to miss the playoffs for back-to-back seasons.
Yeah, I actually remember now thinking about it that I remember Warda saying on Pipe It Up that the experience that he got at one of the tournaments that you guys went to, that he took a lot from that and then came back and made some adjustments and it's clearly paying off.
Right.
I guess I was more just thinking like, these guys have been in the league for a long time. Are they going to get complacent and just kind of, they're just playing, having fun together? And I think that's kind of what I thought of when they made that selection, is like, okay, well, they're just picking guys that they want to hang around with, not necessarily that they're trying to compete for a title here with what they have. And, like I remember going into the season saying the comparison between the Preds and the Eagles, Dan, went the opposite direction, started drafting young guys who he wasn't like affiliated with in any way,
right,
as a try to, who play wiffle ball. And then the Preds kind of went the opposite direction, which is why I kind of had them trending in opposite directions. But it's clear that, they still have it at least after one series, and we'll see how it goes the rest of the season.
Yeah. Small. Let's just take it easy. Small sample size, 1 pitch away from being 1 and 2, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true. I have one thing to add. This is actually, I think you can draw a lot of comparisons with our Gators team this season to you can with the Preds last season. Because if you think about it, they won the World Series. Then they kind of, they got to the ALCS, didn't get the job done, and then they missed the playoffs. Then we kind of did the same thing. I mean, we won, we lost in the NLCS, and now, are we gonna miss the playoffs? I don't know yet. We'll have to see. And we're kind of I think maybe we're at that point where, maybe we're getting a little complacent. We're like, we feel like we could sleepwalk into the playoffs, but that's just not the case anymore. There's too many good teams in this league. And, we have a lot of talent. Getting Reese, I think, is going to make a big difference, like I said before. And we'll have to see if that impact, comes to fruition right away, because we need it to. So it's put up or shut up time for us.
All right. I had some more Bonham comments there, but we'll just let it go. Last question for me. Do you have plans? Trevor and I, we're actively working on making sure we're in Peoria in late August for the Midwest Slugfest. Do you think you'll be there? Do you have any plans? Do you know?
I would say I'm probably 50-50 on it, because I want to get to Wiffle in the Mitten. I got to make sure I have, time off from work and stuff like that. And I think I may have a wedding that weekend. I'm not 100% sure on that. It could be the weekend after. So I'm not sure, but I will do whatever I can to try to get there, though, because I do really want to go for sure. I've never been to Illinois.
Okay. Well, you talking about how incredibly difficult it is to hit a wiffle ball really got me excited.
I can't wait to see these videos of us trying to hit wiffle balls. It's gonna be amazing.
Trevor, what will our totals be lined at in our 3-game matches or games against
Our
other
team
people?
total?
Yeah, for 3
So
games, like 3 and
so
a half.
I think it's got to be no, it's got to be 1
Okay.
because there's a chance that we'll make it 1.5. And the only reason we might score is because my 8-year-old son Andrew might hit a dinger off of somebody. That's the only chance that we have.
Okay. All right. That seems like a good place to end it. Chris, this was awesome. This is the first person we've had ranked number 2 on the MLW stats ladder. So it's a big get for us. So thanks for joining us. Good luck in the series against the Eagles. If it doesn't go well, we're going to have some stuff to clip out of this show to repost. So that'll be good for us. So anyway, lots of gambling stories and Major League Wiffle Ball you just heard. Good luck, everybody. Good gambling. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, let's do some gambling right at the end here. Quick gambling. Edon, call it in the air. It's tails. Trevor, do you want NBA or NHL?
I'm an NHL expert.
That's the truth. You can either take the Avalanche as decent favorites at -170, the Oilers at +150, or I'll even let you take the total. Which would you prefer? Total of 7.
Drew seems like a pretty big Mahoney, so I'm gonna go with the Oilers.
That seems smart. Okay, you're on for the Oilers. Edonk, you get NBA, your specialty. Game 1 tonight, Warriors favored by 3.5 versus the Celtics. Please drive safely while you're thinking.
Always do. I would love the Boston Celtics. I would love the Boston Celtics for the series as well. So anyone out there who loves the Golden State Warriors, which is pretty much every fucking Mahoney in the poker room yesterday, reach out. Let me know.
Okay, so poker room lock is Warriors in the series.
Yeah, that was there was a lot of poker room talk. Aladdin reached out to me also, and he said his poker room was filled with Golden State Warrior backers.
Well, you can get a nice price on the Celtics for the series. That's like +130, +140, something like that, I think. All right. So your play today for your guys' $1,000 heads up challenge is you're taking the 3.5 with the Celtics.
Absolutely. I'm just going to say one thing and one thing only. Defense wins championships, and the Celtics surely play phenomenal defense.
Looks like you just pulled into a parking garage. Park on a pole. That's good luck. Trevor, new idea. I conversed with the gentleman who runs the account on Instagram for MLW stats. He's the guy who puts out the ladder scores. He's going to put out the ladder for each series going forward. So you and I were each going to pick one player from the series, and whose ever player ends up higher on the ladder for that series wins $100. Following week, loser goes first. I'll give you the honors. We've got Gators and Eagles dropping tomorrow. Who are you going to take?
How does the ladder work exactly? It's a combination of pitching and batting, or is it just batting or what?
It's and fielding. It's all 3.
And fielding.
Yep.
Ooh, okay.
If you would like me to provide you with an example, I can probably do that real quick here. Like overall, Cheetam is 3rd in the league right now with a 41.9. After week 3, it was Saylor, Cheetam, Schultz, Cratch, Warda. That was the just to give you an idea. So you get to pick one from this series.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I'll take Cheetam.
Damn it! All right. Well, I'll take Dirty Dan then. Sounds right.
I think that's.
You didn't take your MVP pick. What's wrong with you?
What's that?
Who's the guy you're highest on in the whole league for MVP and value? What's his name? Dallas something, right?
Dallas on.
Doesn't he play?
Yes, he does.
I have the teams right? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's it. You've got,
You still got to take either Dan or Cheetam when you're going for that thing.
yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. That's our quick addendum to our Cheetam episode. We're going to be on the internets very, very soon. And Edunk's got a tiny hand. All right. Say goodbye to the people, everybody. Good gambling.